What's going on, guys? Pixar, they're at it again. Finding Dory is hitting theaters, and we have set out with the monumental task of finding out what is the greatest Pixar film of all time. And we have an esteemed panel of film critics and cinema minds to help us out. First, you know him from Schmoes Know, you know him from Collider Movie Talk. He's also a very funny stand-up comedian, Mark Ellis. You know this woman from ScreenJunkies Plus and Fandango, among other places. Welcome back, Alicia Malone. And, you know him, you love him, the Movie Fights champion and the host of Summer Movie Report, Dan Murrell. Before we jump in, let me tell you how we broke down our bracket. So Finding Dory is not included because that comes out this weekend. We have calculated a very complicated algorithm that includes IMDb user rankings, box office results, and Rotten Tomato critic scores. We threw that in a blender and came out with 1 through 16. Hey, do it yourself. Shall we begin?
Rock, baby.
Let's do this. The number one film by our calculations, Toy Story 3.
Ooh, wow.
Versus the number 16 seed, Cars 2. Mark Ellis.
You know how I like Cars 2 more than most people did. I actually enjoyed it for what it was, but it's nowhere near the level of Toy Story 3.
Boom.
TS3.
Okay, that's 1 for Toy Story 3. Alicia Malone.
Definitely Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3 moves on. Dan, your vote is moot, but what would you have said?
Toy Story 3, obviously.
Our number 9 seed, WALL-E, versus our number 8 seed, The Incredibles. You know what? Let's not do this. Okay. I'm kidding. We're doing this. Dan, we're going to start with you.
I think The Incredibles, people don't give it as much credit now because we didn't have the kind of superhero stuff when The Incredibles came out that we have now. WALL-E is like a visual poetry. This is a coin toss for me. It's like 51-49 WALL-E.
So it's 1-0 WALL-E. Mark Ellis.
I love The Incredibles, one of my favorite Pixar, one of my favorite movies. I'm giving the big edge to The Incredibles.
We are all nodded at 1 apiece. The Incredibles, WALL-E. Can you stand this? Alicia Malone.
WALL-E, it was really revolutionary, a robot film showing a great story about love, the destruction of the planet, future of humanity. And then The Incredibles, it's one of my favorite superhero films. I'm gonna go with WALL-E.
Wow.
Bam!
It gets the edge for me.
WALL-E.
I can hear the thumbs downing.
Up next, Toy Story 2 versus Cars. We're going to start with Alicia Malone.
Well, Cars isn't one of my favorite Pixar films. Toy Story 2 was supposed to be a direct-to-DVD sequel, and then they put it in theatrical release because it was so good. Toy Story 2, for me, that's an easy choice.
Boom, 1 for Toy Story 2. Mark Ellis?
I think Alicia's right. I think that Toy Story proved that not only is this movie series a good franchise, it is now a dynasty thanks to Toy Story 2. I'm giving it the easy win over Cars.
Boom, Toy Story 2. Dan?
Toy Story 2.
Yeah. Woo! Okay. No, I don't know why I made that noise. This is not a difficult choice for me. The number 5 seed, Inside Out, against Monsters University. Let's start with Dan Murrell.
Monsters University gets a bad rap. It gets lumped in with the Cars 2s of the Pixar thing. I don't think that it's necessarily a terrible movie. Inside Out is top 5 Pixar, transcends being an animated film, just a great film. I gotta go Inside Out.
Boom. 1-0 Inside Out. Ellis.
You know, Inside Out did something incredible where it managed to feel so original and funny and heartwarming all in the same movie. Whereas, I can't even remember the other movie it's going up against, which is why Inside Out gets the easy victory.
Alicia, agree?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Finding Nemo, the number 2, is going up against The Good Dinosaur. Could it be The Great Dinosaur? Alicia?
No, I love Finding Nemo.
1-0 Finding Nemo. Dan Murrell.
Good Dinosaur was like a mid-90s DreamWorks level quality animated film. It was very
shots
strange.
fired!
Finding Nemo is far superior.
The number 10 film, Ratatouille, versus the number 7 ranked film on our list, Up, Ellis.
I love the little rat. I love what he's trying to do. It's the ultimate underdog story. However, Up managed to do something that I didn't think a film could do, where it ripped my heart out and showed it to me in the first 5 minutes. I'm giving the win to the 7 seed, Up.
Bam, that's 1 for Up. Dan Murrell.
I think that People confuse Up with the first 10 minutes of Up. It's hard to beat that first 10 minutes of Up. But
Yeah.
looking at the totality of the movie,
Yes.
I gotta give the edge to Ratatouille.
Wow.
I don't often cry in movies. That montage absolutely killed me.
Yeah.
But I agree with Dan that the rest of the movie wasn't as good as the first 10 minutes. So I'm going to go with Ratatouille.
We're gonna have to go into hiding after this.
I know,
think.
I'm sorry.
It's Pixar's fault. They made too many good movies. The next first round matchup is Toy Story versus Brave. Alicia, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I like that female character in Brave, but much like A Good Dinosaur, Brave to me doesn't feel like a Pixar film. It feels like a Disney princess film. It also feels like a bit of a DreamWorks film. It's got this crazy slapstick humor that I felt out of place with the whole movie. So Toy Story is definitely my choice.
Let's go to Mark Ellis.
It's impossible to vote against Pixar's rookie card. I'm going Toy Story in a very easy victory.
Bam, Toy Story, the OG. Moving on. Dan, any thoughts?
To infinity and beyond.
All right, our final matchup of the first round, the number 11 seed, A Bug's Life versus Monsters, Inc. Let's start with Dan Murrell.
I think Bug's Life, following Toy Story, they were still kind of tweaking the formula a little bit. I think by the time they got to Monsters, Inc., a few years later, they kind of figured out how the moving pieces work. I'm going to give it to Monsters, Inc.
Let's move over to Mark Ellis.
There's no way that Monsters, Inc. is going to lose to A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life squashed by Monsters, Inc. All right, the second round is set. These are all Sophie's choices. The number 1 seed, Toy Story 3, versus our number 9 seed, WALL-E. Alicia Malone.
They're both inventive in their own way, but I am just going to give the edge to Toy Story 3.
1-0, Toy Story 3 over WALL-E. Dan Murrell.
They say vote with your heart. And I think that more than any other movie, Toy Story 3 just spoke to me on a personal level. We've all been kids. We all had toys. We've all grown up.
Have we?
WALL-E, great movie, but personally, I got to go with Toy Story 3.
Bam! That means Toy Story 3, moving on, sends WALL-E straight to the furnace. Next second round matchup, folks. Toy Story 2 versus Inside Out. Mark Ellis.
I would have to give the slight edge to something that just, again, felt so funny and original and creative. I'm going to go, surprising myself, with Inside Out.
Alicia Malone.
I know I was just saying that I love the Toy Story universe, but Inside Out, what it was able to do, you know, talk about emotions, make you feel all these emotions. Bing bong. Oh my gosh. So that's why I'm going Inside Out. Just
She was kind
all the
to
feels.
Richard Kind and Bing Bong. Richard Kind, the voice of Bing Bong. Inside Out is moving on. Ratatouille versus Finding Nemo. Dan.
I would have said Ratatouille fairly easily up until a while ago, but I just rewatched Nemo, and it's really kind of grown on me. It's such a relatable story, and I think that they really bring depth to fish. And I can't overlook the technological advance of that movie. That movie looked unlike any other computer animated movie before, the way they were able to do underwater. I gotta go Nemo.
Finding Nemo 1-0 over Ratatouille. Alicia Malone.
Ratatouille tells us much smaller story. There's not that much at stake. Brilliant movie, but I've got to go also with Finding Nemo.
There you go. Finding Nemo. Any thoughts?
Ratatouille sleeps with the fishes tonight, Hal.
Yes! The number 3 seed, Toy Story, versus the number 6 seed, Monsters, Inc. Mark Ellis.
Oh, man.
What do you got?
This is tough because I really fell in love with Mike and Sully when I saw Monsters, Inc. Just the idea of that feels so fun and it gets kids into monsters, but it doesn't scare them, so it did something really tough. But I can't sell short the greatness of the very first Toy Story. It's one of the reasons why we get to debate these lists at all.
Great, that's 1-0 for Toy Story. Dan Murrell.
Monsters, Inc. I enjoy, but Toy Story, no one had ever seen anything like it before. It's a landmark, not just in animation, but in film itself. And I think people forget Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are fantastic. I love that note. I love that character that he plays. Yeah, I gotta go Toy Story.
Bam. Alicia?
Agree.
Yeah.
Toy Story.
Toy Story moving on to the Final Four, and that means our Final Four is set. Wow. Up first, Toy Story 3, the number 1 seed, versus Inside Out, the number 5 seed, Alicia Malone.
Toy Story 3 is my favorite of the the bunch of the three. Have to go with Toy Story 3. It's really hard though. That's like a slight edge.
Let's check in with Dan Merle.
This is the battle of the movies that are going to have me in tears by the end of it. Inside Out did things narratively that I could not believe that they were doing with a kids movie, and what it says about human nature and the fact that happiness and sadness are things that everybody needs in conjunction. Like, that movie totally blew me away. I have to go Inside Out.
And I can't fault you for that. And that locks us up at 1-1. Toy Story 3 and Inside Out. It comes down to Mr. Mark Ellis to make a choice.
The win that I'm going to have to give to the movie that has a villain presence that the other one lacks. I love Ned Beatty as that scary purple teddy bear. And so I'm going to give Toy Story 3 the W.
Toy Story 3 moving on to the finals. Our second matchup of the Final Four. Finding Nemo, the number 2 seed, versus Toy Story, the number 3 seed. Alicia.
Finding Nemo, I think, was so revolutionary at the time. But Toy Story set the bar high for what animation could do, as well as you were saying earlier, Dan, films in general. Made me feel a lot of things. Toy Story.
All right, let's see if this schmo knows which of these films he prefers.
You know, I don't know that I'm going to be able to resist a Captain America Civil War all-out brawl in the final between the toys of Toy Story and the toys of Toy Story 3. Woo! But then I start considering Finding Nemo and how much heart that movie had, and how it had two of my all-time favorite comedians, Albert Brooks and Ellen DeGeneres. They go on such an amazing adventure that was visually gorgeous, like nothing I had ever seen before. I love you, Toy Story, but I'm going to go with Finding Nemo in an upset that I couldn't even predict.
Wow, okay. So we are at 1-1. Dan Merle.
Toy Story was the first. You've got the strong cast. You've got the fact that no one had done this before. Nemo, you have, I think, a more heartfelt story, and I think that's an important aspect. It may not be fair, but I think these movies are pretty equal. And I think that Woody and Buzz already have their day in court. So I'm gonna give it to Nemo.
Nemo swims into the finals. We have ended up with our number 1 seed, Toy Story 3, versus our number 2 seed, Finding Nemo.
Right.
Mark Ellis.
I love the adorable fish. He's got a great voice. Nothing is going to beat Toy Story 3 in this tournament or a lot of other ones. Toy Story 3 goes up early.
Bam, a definitive choice from Mark Ellis. Alicia?
Oh, yeah. Finding Nemo, as you were saying, really emotional story, plus it pushed the boundaries with computer animation. Toy Story 3, though, is my favorite Pixar film. I love how it completes the story. It is an adventure within itself. But it's a hard choice, but Toy Story 3 is absolutely incredible.
There you have it. Dan, do you sign off on that?
Make it unanimous. Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3, the number 1 Pixar film of all time. You did it. You did it. How do you feel after that, you guys?
Exhausted.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was a workout.
What did you think of our bracket, our tournament, and the winner, Toy Story 3? Who would you have chosen? What was the biggest upset? Who didn't move on that should have? Let us know in the comments section below. Best answer, we're going to send you a Screen Junkies t-shirt. I got to thank this awesome panel. That was fun, and you guys did the damn thing. Mark Ellis, Alicia Malone, Dan Merle, I'm Hal Rudnick. I want to thank you for watching. Hit me up on Twitter. Bye-bye.
Fall in love with and quickly get sick of Dory, the fish version of the kid who asks their parents what's happening every 5 seconds.
We going in there? Can I help you? You mean like a party? Is it your dad or my dad? Where are you going? You okay? What's the matter? What's wrong? Hey, what you doing?
It's gone. I've lost the mask.
Would you drop it?
You dropped it!